Welcome to Wildcard Wednesday on the Michele Tafoya podcast. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you with us every single episode. We have some great ones coming up, by the way. And the library is chock full of stuff. So subscribe. It's free. What do you got to lose? We really appreciate having you on board. We're growing and we want to keep growing. All right. Wildcard Wednesday. If you haven't been on a Wednesday with us for one of these epic episodes, you're in for a treat. So much is going on. We're going to try to get to a lot of it. All right. We're going to do our best. And we're going to start with just less than 12 hours ago, I think, maybe about 12 hours ago, when a man named Mark Vogel, a school teacher from Pennsylvania, appeared at the White House alongside the president. I watched the whole thing live. First, he walked up to the portico door and it was snowing and he had an American flag around his shoulders. And you'll see that in a second. Mark Vogel, released from Russia. It was a promise that Donald Trump made to the man's mother right before he was shot in Butler, by the way, before Trump took that bullet to the ear in Butler. He had promised the 95-year-old mother of this school teacher and said, we're going to bring him home. And last night he came home. Roll it, John.
I feel like the luckiest man on earth right now. And I want you to know that I am not a hero in this at all. And President Trump is a hero. These men that came from the diplomatic service are heroes. The senators and representatives that passed legislation in my honor to get me home are the heroes.
Now, there was an exchange, and it happened this morning. We were just getting this news as we're recording this, that there is a Russian Bitcoin person. That's about as detailed as I'm going to get right now, because I don't want to speak out of turn, who was sent back to Russia, or who is being released and going to be sent back to Russia. It's a pretty fair one-on-one trade. It's not 6 terrorists for one guy. So I love these homecomings. And sadly, like the 6 Venezuelan guys who were Americans who were kept in Venezuela, I didn't even know about them. So it's stunning. I knew about Vogel, and it's great to see him home. And it's moments like this that are just so inspiring. Because if you imagine, he was there, he was taken into custody in Russia because he had medical marijuana or some sort of CBD product. And they put him in custody, and he did some hard labor over there. And he had been sentenced to 14 years. He's home. He's home after 3.5 grueling years. And you'd want to believe that America wouldn't forget you either if you ran into similar trouble. I love the story. It's just a whole different feel. Some people hate it. I love it. Chaos to me, this isn't chaos. It's organized chaos, which is pretty much my house and probably yours too. So what's going on is just exciting. And yeah, maybe we break an egg along the way, which is real expensive to do these days, but we can fix that later. One of the things that we're going to be looking at from this moment forward is this Saturday at noon. I guess noon Eastern time. This Saturday at noon, that is the deadline for Hamas to release all of the remaining hostages, dead or alive. And let's play the moment from the Oval Office yesterday where President Trump made this proclamation.
Well, I would say this, and I'm going to let that because that's Israel's decision. But as far as I'm concerned, if all of the hostages aren't returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I think it's an appropriate time. I would say cancel it and all bets are off and let hell break out. I'd say they ought to be returned by 12 o'clock on Saturday, and if they're not returned, all of them, not in drips and drabs, not 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 2. Saturday at 12 o'clock, and after that, I would say all hell is going to break out.
Now, Israel later yesterday came out and said, yep, we're on board. And we are ready to cancel this ceasefire if we don't get all of our hostages out at noon on Saturday. We're in alignment with the White House. So here we go. Now, what Hamas is going to do, we have no idea. But when you see, we saw recently 3 more hostages come out of there emaciated. Their skin color was just, it was like, they looked like Holocaust survivors. And I think that really jarred a lot of people into thinking, what the hell are we doing? Get them all out of there. Get them out. Now, this is a risk. Life is full of them. This is a risk because you don't know what is going to happen to the rest of these hostages. But I would say that this is a risk that Israel is willing to take. And certainly the United States is backing them and said, let's do this. Let's put this deadline down. So here we go. It's time to put the clock in the corner screen until noon on Saturday. It's like high noon on Saturday. It's a little nerve-wracking, but I mean, how much longer are we going to let these monsters have these people? The things that have happened to these hostages, not to mention the way that 1,200 people were murdered on October 7th in 2023, is absolutely sickening and despicable. We got to get them out of there. The other big story, of course, is DOGE, right? The Department of Government Efficiency, which, by the way, people keep saying Elon was not elected. Elon was not elected. Neither was the cabinet. And neither were a bunch of administrators who are running Washington into the ground with all of our taxpayer money. We knew Elon was part of the plan when we went to vote on November 5th. And maybe many of you voted against that. But the majority in the Electoral College and the 7 swing states voted for it. So here he is trying to clean things up. Now, here is Joe Rogan detailing, I'm sure many of you have heard this, some of the expenditures, the outlays of your money. I can't emphasize that enough, of your money through USAID. Let's roll Joe Rogan and his reaction.
Off some of the things that this guy Kanakota the Great on Twitter listed, and this is off the Jesse Waters show. USAID, $20 million for Iraqi Sesame Street, $2 million for Moroccan pottery classes, $11 million to tell Vietnam to stop burning trash, $27 million to give gift bags to illegals, $27 million, $330 million to help Afghanis grow crops. Crops. I wonder what those crops are. What's their biggest crop, Brett?
It's going to be the poppy seeds for bagels, I'm thinking.
$200 million on an unused Afghani dam, $250 million on an unused Afghani road. This is wild. I mean, some of this stuff is really, really crazy.
It really, really is wild and crazy. So now, again, this is where, and we're going to get to Elon Musk in the Oval from yesterday. If you missed it, it was really compelling. Some of you are sick of hearing from Elon. This was just a different Elon, so I was fascinated. But how can anyone be against cutting this kind of crap out of government expenditures? Remember, people, it is your money. It is not their money. They took it from you in the form of taxes to pay for things that should be important to Americans, like defense spending, like infrastructure, like road safety, like the FCC, like well, I don't even know if the FCC is all that effective, but the Transportation Safety Administration, those kinds of things that are important to us, not for this crap. So this is one little agency, and they're finding this much, and you don't think they're going to find more in Medicare and Medicaid and the Defense Department and the Department of Education and a bunch of other places? Let's go, man. I love this idea from the get-go. I don't care if people think, oh, he wasn't elected. Neither was Marco Rubio for Secretary of State. So what is happening is incredible, and it's being revealed to us. Now you hear CNN saying, well, what's the proof? Are you kidding me? They say they're cutting this, but what's the proof? This is a constitutional crisis. Is the most vague term, and it's vague on purpose to make you think, oh my gosh, someone's going to hold a match to the Constitution, and what's going to happen? This is not a constitutional crisis. I mean, sunlight is the best disinfectant. I am loving this. So Elon Musk goes to the Oval Office yesterday with his little boy X, who stole the show by all accounts, and it was quite a moment. I'm going to break up some of what he said. He talked a lot. He spoke a lot in detail, and he even said, I will make mistakes, and I want to be held accountable for my mistakes, and we will correct those mistakes. Wow, how evil. Such an evil man. Such an evil, unelected bureaucrat. All right, here's part one. He talks about democracy, but really the reason I'm showing you this is because his little boy, X, was quite funny. Go ahead and roll it, John.
So at a high level, if you say what is the goal of D.O.G.E. and I think a significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, are we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, FAX, we would have to, if you sorry. So, I tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes. If there's not a good feedback loop from the people to the government, and if you have rule of the bureaucrat, if the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have?
Yeah. If bureaucracy is taking all the power and spending all the money in these little back channels, then what good is democracy? Now, we are not a pure democracy. We are a constitutional republic, a democratic republic. So it's pure democracy is tyranny of the majority. So we are not that. But anyway, X was kind of cute. He was kind of cute. So Elon goes on to talk about some of the fraud they've already found in Social Security. Some of the stuff that he revealed was unbelievable, including this on 150-year-olds still getting Social Security. Roll it.
There's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. That's a case where, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two.
So the point being, who are these 150-year-olds who are still on the Social Security rolls? They were born 150 years ago, so they shouldn't be getting Social Security. What is going on? And it's just because, listen, when you are a government employee, you really don't have to be that accountable. Oh, we'll just keep printing money. Don't worry about that mistake. We'll just keep printing money. Or we'll raise taxes. We'll cover that. Don't worry about it. Now, we can't fire you because you've got a union. And, even though you're terrible at your job, you're not going to be fired because it's really unpopular to fire government employees. What the hell? The rest of us have to deal with performance and living up to our job descriptions and doing well by them. Why doesn't government? Now we have this unbelievable opportunity in front of us. Someone's just putting it out there. Every day on X, you can read about the waste, fraud, and abuse. Now, at one point in Elizabeth Warren's life, this was important to her. Now she's out there rallying with these crazy Democrats. And yes, I'll use the word crazy because they're nuts, singing protest songs and firing F-bombs, which we'll share with you in a minute, and going to the Department of Public Education or Department of Education or wherever and demanding to be let in. They are throwing a hissy fit, this collective tantrum by these people, these leftists, who say that what's going on is a constitutional crisis. They tried shadow government about a week ago. That didn't work very well. So now we're on to constitutional crisis. Democracy is dying. It's at risk. So Elizabeth Warren, I think this was from 1990, early 1990s. Michael Moore interviewed her when she was a professor at Harvard, and you'll love her haircut. It actually looks quite nice. And she talks about this corruption in government and this spending. So I don't know what happened to Liz, but this was her then.
I was talking to someone who spent many years as a prosecutor, and he said, when that much money disappears, it's usually because somebody broke some laws somewhere. But if we don't look, if we don't ask, if we don't uncover it and make it all public, we'll never find out.
Where is the criminal investigation that needs to happen here?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen it at all. What the government didn't do is it didn't turn around and say, you lost how much money and you wiped out how many pensions and you wiped out how many jobs? I want to know who did what, whether or not any laws were violated, where the gaps are in the system that would permit this to happen. I want to hold somebody responsible. Responsibility is not just about blame. Responsibility is about making sure we fix this and it will not happen again.
Okay, I was way off on the year there. That was 2009. I don't know where I got 91. Anyway, what happened to that Liz Warren? What happened to the person who was so concerned about accountability and responsibility in government? What happened to her? Instead, we're getting all these ridiculous protests with Jamie Raskin and really the leftist wing of the Democrat Party. Although there have been a number of participants, but I think some are saying if we rage about everything, then we're just going to look silly, which you do. Like in this clip where this woman from Oregon, she's a doctor and apparently has children, but never let politics get in the way of a shining moment like this one. They decided this is what they want to do to Trump. Go ahead, John.
I've been told I have 30 seconds, so I am going to tell you that we do have to, I don't swear in public very well, but we have to Trump. Please don't tell my children that I just did that.
Yeah, they'll never find out. Don't worry about it. I mean, setting your morals aside for a moment. This is all they've got, folks. When this is what you've got to chant and when this is what you've got to do, that's all you've got. There's no real argument. How do you argue with, let's clean up government spending? How do you argue with, let's tell everyone how their money's being wasted? How do you argue with that? You can't. So you go with crap like that. Real proud moment for her. Meanwhile, Jonathan Turley, who's a professor of law, appeared on Fox News to talk about Elon Musk and why people are freaking out about Elon Musk. I love the analogy he makes, but he puts it pretty simply. So we're going to show you. Here's Jonathan Turley.
You have people all over the Beltway breathing in paper bags right now because the idea that you could bring in these people and they're going to sort of think outside the box. That's what Musk is known for. He's known for someone who rejects path dependence. He did that at Twitter. You know, they said he couldn't fire all those people at Twitter. He did that, and Twitter became more efficient, and the operations continued unimpeded. And that was against all the predictions that Twitter would literally shut down because it needed every one of those or most of those employees. So Musk is coming in here, and yeah, the terror alert in Washington is quite astonishing. But this idea that this is a danger to democracy is rather odd. You have a president who just ran on a pledge to shrink the government, to look for waste. He brought in someone from the outside for a reason, because past pledges by presidents have gone nowhere in terms of changing the way Washington functions. So he brought in this guy who operates with a different approach. And look, the truth is they want people to leave some of these positions. And as I said before, you know, the fact is that if you throw a badger into a crowded car, people are going to get out. And Musk is that badger. I mean, he threw him in that car, and they're trying to change the way government is composed and is running.
Again, for all those people screaming that he's not elected and he's a co-president and he's standing in the Oval and this is awful. We knew this was going to happen well in advance of November 5th when we all went to the polls to vote. This was never a secret that this administration wanted to uncover all of this wasteful spending and get rid of it. Not cover it up. The grift is up, I hope. Now you got a lot of activist judges out there trying to block all of this. So it's just going to appeal, go to the next court, appeal, go to the next court. I mean, some of this stuff may get all the way to the Supreme Court to get decided. This is what we asked for. This is what we asked for. And I'll leave it to this guy to put it really succinctly about if you disagree with this concept of cutting back wasteful spending. Go ahead and roll this guy, John.
If you find yourself angry that an unelected billionaire is getting paid $0 to audit unelected bureaucrats who spend billions of your tax dollars, you might just be a moron.
You might just be a moron. Yeah, I love how these people are going out in public, these Democrats, and saying, he's a billionaire who was unelected and he's doing this to line his own pockets. What the? I've been trying to do the math about that and figure out how this helps Elon Musk, like, or Donald Trump. I'm trying to figure out how that pretzel logic they're using to convince us that this regulation is good and deregulation is bad and cutting the budget is bad and it's going to help Elon Musk and Donald Trump and all their billionaire friends. And some people are buying this. I don't understand. One person who's not buying it is a woman who's an American citizen, originally from Senegal. And she was invited to Capitol Hill to testify about regulations and deregulations. And she is very impressive. Her name is Magat Wade. Again, became a U.S. citizen after moving here from West Africa. She's a businesswoman, an entrepreneur. And she testified before a House hearing on reining in the administrative state, regulatory, and law reform. And she's, like I said, impressive. And she comes at this from a unique perspective. I think we should listen to her. So let's listen to her, John.
Mr. Raskin, your words earlier really, really worried me, and I will tell you why. When you say we are here, and we should be here to talk about Mr. Elon Musk and all the unconstitutional things that he's doing, and you said we shouldn't be here to talk about regulation or anything like that, first of all, I want to say, then why did you have me here? As an entrepreneur, my time is valuable. I came here because I thought we were going to talk about the regulatory state and why it matters. So you need to make up your mind on that. And I'm deeply offended by what you said there. And furthermore, I would tell you why I came when I was invited to speak on this. Because right now, everybody in this country, these issues of regulation, overregulation, has been made into a matter of partisanship. Are you from the left or are you from the right? I don't care. Because where I come from, the overregulation causes us to be where we are. My continent, Africa, is the poorest region in the world today because it happens to be the most overregulated region in the world. So if you don't see the value of overregulation, if you need and want to wait until this country becomes like most African countries, I don't know. I love this country and I don't want to see it go down there. So, and also, just so you know, what does overregulation mean for regular people? It means death, literally. People are packing themselves into little fishermen's boats, trying to leave nations that are overregulated, therefore no jobs, and then they have to leave and go seek jobs someplace else. By the way, English is only my fourth language, so when I trip on words, please excuse me, you all.
I love English is only my fourth language. Oh, she's brilliant. I think a star was born. What she's saying is, Jamie Raskin, don't turn this into anything that it's not. We're here to talk about overregulation and the regulatory state. Folks, it's pretty simple. Don't let the terminology gum it up for you. When the government keeps passing all these little pieces of red tape, we'll call them, they keep saying, well, you know what? We want to give you the license to build that building, but we got to make sure you're not killing any worms first. And those load up. Oh, wait, if the worms are going to be a concern, well, what about, the sunlight it's going to block from the next door neighbor? Now, some of these may be valid, but when you've got 200 layers of this stuff to build a building or to do something that's going to be productive and good for society, that's overregulation. And there are a lot of redundancies. By that, I mean, you've got two different laws that protect the same eel. Okay. So it's simple. Get rid of it. Does this mean some people are going to lose their jobs? Yes. Just like during COVID, people who didn't want to get the shot lost their jobs. Just like any, Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, the liberal that he is, cut a bunch of jobs this week at Meta. Know why? Because he could do it more efficiently. And he owes that to his stockholders and he owes it to the company. Jobs are not charity. Jobs are to produce, to be productive members of society. Yes, some of them are very helpful. Teachers, doctors, tutors. That's great. We need those. There are a lot of jobs we don't need that are just created. We don't need them. And we are paying for them. And so I think this woman is incredible. All right, sleep cream, because I might need it tonight. I might need it. I keep it on my nightstand, sleep cream. Look, if you have trouble sleeping, you've got options, right? You can get a prescription, take a pill, but why not do something the natural way? And that is with sleep cream. Sleep cream is something that you just put on topically. I put it on the insides of my forearms, maybe the bottoms of my feet, and it's a CBD-based product. And so I was really skeptical, and I tried it, and it worked, and it didn't just work for me. David G says, amazing, it works. Having chronic pain due to an injury makes it hard to sleep. With sleep cream, I'm falling asleep faster and staying asleep. Thank you. So don't just take it from me. Take it from all of these customers just raving about this stuff. And try sleep cream. And if it doesn't work for you, you can get your money back. Guaranteed. You don't have to return the product. You just have to let them know. You can find them at sleepcream.com, sleepcreme.com, sleepcream.com. Again, try it for a couple nights and doesn't work, you get a refund. Go to sleepcream.com, sleepcreme.com, and for the next few weeks, use the code GAMEDAY, all one word, at checkout for free standard shipping on your first order. That's the code GAMEDAY, GAMEDAY, at checkout. Are you ready for the best sleep ever? Go to sleepcreme.com. All right, here's one of my favorite bits from the week, and I'm being facetious. This made me literally sick. This is a lawmaker in Washington, the state of Washington, not Washington, D.C. In Washington, there's been a contentious battle over parental rights in schools. Do I have the right to know if my kid is going through a social transition? Do I have the right to know if my kid has been abused by a teacher or was, had a criminal act done on my kid by another student? Do I have the right to know? I mean, they're saying stuff like, well, the school can wait 48 hours before informing a parent if something is going wrong at school. 48 hours? What the hell for? What for? So the school can get its ducks in a row before the parent has a right to know this stuff? Are you kidding me? Look, I'm the parent of two. I would never stand for this. And this is a big battle in the state of Washington. Part of the battle is, at what age can kids take decisions into their own hands and make decisions that could affect them for the rest of their lives? Okay? So this politician in Washington talks about 13-year-olds as though they are adults. Now, let me just say something. Well, no, we'll roll this first. Roll the first one, John, and then I'll comment.
Kids over 13 have the complete right to make their own decisions about their mental health care. Parents don't have a right to have notice. They don't have a right to have consent about that.
I'm absolutely, my head is exploding over this guy. Let me tell you something. Quick story. When I was 13, I was anorexic. Full blown. I lost so much weight that you could pretty much count every rib, every vertebra. I was a stick figure. That's mental health as well as physical health being challenged. And my parents don't have a right to make decisions about that? Let me tell you, my parents did make decisions about that. And thank God I'm alive to tell. A lot of girls die from anorexia. 13-year-olds don't. I can't believe he just said parents don't have that right. That man is a nut job. I'll use a term from earlier. He's a moron. Here he explains further. Go ahead, John.
If they're old enough to get pregnant, they're old enough to make their own decisions about what happens with their bodies. Okay? And parents do not have the right to change that.
Parents do not have the right to change that. 13. Anyone have a 13-year-old out there? Anyone remember when you were 13? Your brain isn't even close to being fully developed until you're in your early to mid 20s. And parents don't have a right? So if parents see their kids struggling with mental health and becoming suicidal, they don't have a right to do anything about that, to intercede? Are you kidding me? And supposedly this guy has kids, from what I've read about him. I hate to see I'm sorry, but that's nuts. That's absolutely freaking crazy. So if a kid is 13, they have the right to say, if I think for my mental health, I'm just going to start smoking pot and drinking. And my parents can't say anything about it because it's my mental health. Are you kidding me? That is lunacy. That is freaking lunacy. And it angers me like I can't even explain. I can't even explain. I will explain this. There's been the Chinese U.S. Treasury hack. There might be a new virus spreading in China. There's a lot going on worldwide that we know about, some that is being hidden from us. So why gamble with your financial future? This is what I got to ask. Regardless of who's in office, you gotta, we're hopeful right now. Things look good, but you've got to take care of your financial future. It's up to you. Relying solely on digital systems and banks, we see where that's gotten us sometimes. And that's just a risk I don't think you can afford to take. I suggest you take a look at American Independence Gold. Visit tafoyagold.com now to learn more, or call 833-324-4653. For generations, gold and silver have been the ultimate safe haven, weathering wars, recessions, and market crashes. This is more than just owning gold. It's about taking control of your financial future. As a proud veteran-owned company, American Independence Gold goes the extra mile. They support military families. They cover custodial fees for life on qualifying accounts, and they donate a portion of every purchase to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Don't wait to secure your future. Act right now before it's too late. Visit tafoyagold.com, TAFOYA gold.com now to learn more, or call 833-324-4653, 833-324-4653, or go to tafoyagold.com. Make the smart move for your future today at tafoyagold.com. Here's a viral piece of video you may have seen, but for those of you that haven't, because I just finally watched the whole thing last night, deciding whether or not to include it in Wildcard Wednesday, and I decided to do so. Because here's another person who really puts into perspective how betrayed they feel by the Democrat Party and why the Democrat Party is so unpopular right now, and they keep adding, they just keep shoveling. They're in a hole and they just keep shoveling. So this guy goes on a rant And I saw a lot of people reposting this, and maybe you're on X and maybe you're not. Maybe you're on TikTok, maybe you're not. I decided I wanted to share this with you in case you hadn't heard it. It is worth listening to beginning to end. He says, I used to be a Democrat. Roll it, John.
This political party, the Democratic Party, have lied to us about everything. They've lied about being the party of the middle class. They've lied about being the party of peace. They've lied about being the party that wants to help poor people. Okay? What the last several weeks have proven to us all is that this is a cadre of criminals and losers and spoiled children of affluent parents who were more concerned about looking good than actually doing good. These are people who were more concerned about looking like they were doing something for the American people than actually doing things for the American people. And that's why I'm so angry. Because this party lied to me while stealing my tax dollars. The Democratic Party lied to us all while they brought in millions of illegal immigrants for their own political purposes for the last 4 years. 20 to 30 million illegal aliens brought in, and now we come to USAID being probably the largest money laundering operation in American history. Congratulations, Dems. You've outdone even Bernie Madoff. I'm disgusted beyond words. Disgusted with the waste of money. Disgusted with the waste, with the fraud. With the way that you people use color legitimacy, and the way you use black people as fucking mules to get us to push whatever fucking agenda you wanted to. The amount of division you used black people to sow upon the American people, you used us for that. And I will never, ever forgive this political party. The shit that I've gone through personally. Y'all were supposed to be the party of free speech, the party of women's rights. You have immolated all of those things. And then, as if enough weren't enough, you then decide that you're going to die on the hill of USAID, a government audit. You're trying to prevent a government audit because some of you really are trying to stay out of prison. We see the game now. Y'all been out here telling us that the game was rigged against certain people. Well, now we found out who the people that were rigging the game were. Congratulations. Y'all are never going to win another political race ever again. Not if I can help it.
One of the terms he used was color legitimacy. That guy was on fire, passionate, prepared, well-spoken, and yet that appeared to be off the cuff on the streets of New York. No wonder it's gone viral. Yeah, this is the hill you're going to die on. There have been a lot of hills the Democrats have been trying to die on. That this USAID and blocking a government audit of the Department of Education, pretending that you care about kids, pretending that you care about the education levels in this country, all evidence to the contrary. We're in a terrible place with our public education. Terrible. So, wow. Now, I like to save some of the funnier stuff for the end. And so that's what I've done. I've got 3 fun things to show you here. But before I do, let me tell you about Solaire infrared grills. I've told you about them before. These grills are amazing. Okay, and even though it's cold outside, that doesn't mean you can't still grill, because the Solaire infrared grill heats up super duper fast, like in 3 minutes. So this is the grill you want. This is the grill you need. They perform equally well in the cold as they do in, the dead of summer. Is it dead of summer? Whatever. The Solaire infrared grills, they heat your food directly. It's not just the heating up the air around your food like gas and charcoal grills do. This heats directly. So to get the great taste, it's all in the heat in Solaire infrared from besthotgrill.com. It gets hotter than anything you've experienced during the season. Try the Solaire infrared grill now with the demo program, the Try Before You Buy. Don't be left out in the cold. Learn more about these USA-made Solaire infrared grills at besthotgrill.com. Besthotgrill.com. You can try it before you buy it. This thing is amazing. The food is tremendous. Besthotgrill.com. I saved the fun stuff for the end. This one, you got to watch closely. Watch the guy standing, as you're looking at it, he's on the right side of your screen, standing behind the president as the president signs an executive order to take paper straws out of the government and put plastic straws back in. Roll it, John.
Next, this is an executive order relating to the use of paper straws. As you've consistently identified, nobody really likes paper straws.
Number one trending. Can you believe it? A paper straw was number one trending for 3 days or something.
The environmental impact of plastic straws versus paper straws is entirely unclear. This has cost both the government and private industry an absolute ton of money and left consumers all over the country wildly dissatisfied with their straws. So we're asking aspects of the federal government, federal departments and agencies to look at their existing procurement processes, and we're asking your Domestic Policy Council to look holistically at this issue to address it, and it really is something that affects ordinary Americans in their everyday lives.
We're going back to plastic straws. These things don't work. I've had them many times, and on occasion they break, they explode. If something's hot, they don't last very long, like a matter of minutes, sometimes a matter of seconds. It's a ridiculous situation. So we're going back to plastic straws. I think it's okay. And I don't think that plastic's going to affect a shark very much as they're munching their way through the ocean. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have...
I just hope you enjoyed watching the guy in the back laughing. Look, I've tried paper straws. They're useless. You get about 2 good sips out of them, and that's that. Now, if you really want to be conscientious, and that's totally up to you, he's not banning paper straws. There are also metal straws you can buy. I think they're made of steel that you can buy and reuse time and time again. So that's your environmental tip of the day. No environmental tips from Snoop at the NFL Honors Show. Snoop is everywhere. Man, the guy is everywhere. But he was at the NFL Honors Show. That happens 2 nights before the Super Bowl. And... I don't know if you know this, but Bill Belichick, the former coach of the New England Patriots, and now the coach at North Carolina for the Tar Heel football program, was in the audience with his very young new girlfriend. And Snoop Dogg Snoop Dogg leveled this one.
Because I've been a football fan for a long, long time. I mean, I remember back when the Cowboys was good. I remember back when the Chiefs was bad. And I remember, what was it? Bill Belichick's girlfriend wasn't even born yet.
Okay, there it is. The age difference is ridiculous. I don't remember off the top of my head, but you could see it right there. She's in her early 20s. He's in his 60s. So there you go. I hope they're both very happy. I'm sure he was happy with her dress, if you noticed the dress. All right, and finally, this is a little gem I found on the internet. This woman is pretty incredible. So what she's doing here, because I want to explain before you watch, she is imitating what it would be like for each of these singers to stub their toes. Okay, so you'll see her doing it again and again, but what's critical is that you note the name of the singer that she is impersonating as they each stub their toe. So you're going to see her again and again fake stubbing her toe, but the reaction that she gives each time is an impersonation of a particular performer. Watch and enjoy. I don't know how she ended on Owen Wilson, but that I thought that was pretty damn good. I thought that was pretty damn good. She nailed each one of those. Like, that's cool. I loved it. I loved it. I hope you did too. In the meantime, as always, be brave, do good. We'll see you tomorrow, and we will also see you next Wildcard Wednesday.